Lawrence, those are the weather headlines. Let's hand it over. Brian, let's turn to the bigger issue: war. Pakistan is preparing to host talks between the United States and Iran, as President Trump suggests Tehran may have limited options. Meanwhile, the Pentagon is considering the possibility of deploying troops on the ground within weeks. Joining us now is retired Navy captain and former Pentagon official Brent Sadler. Brent, what do you expect from these talks? Brian, it appears the U.S. won't engage directly. Instead, intermediaries like Turkey, Pakistan, and Egypt will be involved. Brent Sadler, good morning, Brian. I don't have high expectations for meaningful outcomes, at least not in the first or even early rounds of these Pakistan-hosted negotiations. However, they may offer insight into what Iran is willing to concede, as well as internal sentiment within its leadership. There are signs the Iranian government may be fracturing. Frankly, the United States is in a strong position right now, and it should not feel pressured to make concessions just to end hostilities. Brian, it also seems Iran's leadership is divided, with reports of disagreements between the president and the IRGC over next steps. Brian, there appears to be a disconnect between what Iran says publicly about Gulf states and what it actually does. Brent Sadler, exactly. And that kind of internal division is something the U.S. should monitor closely and even encourage. If the system begins to splinter and a more workable leadership emerges, that's who negotiations should focus on. Brian, let's talk about U.S. forces. With around 5,000 Marines and additional troops from the 82nd Airborne deploying, what role should they play? Brent Sadler, these deployments are happening in phases. The first wave includes about 2,200 Marines. Their strength lies in rapid response operations, such as forced entry or targeted coastal raids. They could be used to strike Iranian positions where small boats and drones are being staged to attack shipping. These would be quick in and out operations, not long-term engagements. Another option is placing Marines aboard U.S.-flagged ships currently stuck in the Persian Gulf. A visible military presence would help ensure safe passage through the strait and restore confidence. As for the 82nd Airborne, their role is more defensive, reinforcing U.S. bases in places like Kuwait and Bahrain. This is not indicative of a full-scale invasion, which would require a much larger and very different kind of military buildup. Brian, there are also reports that several Chinese-linked oil vessels were blocked from entering the strait. If Iran is even stopping ships tied to China, its key partner, who is really making these decisions? Brent Sadler, that's a fair question. The global shipping industry is complex and often opaque. Ownership, cargo, and registration are frequently handled by different entities. Iran may be trying to assert control over shipping routes, but there could also be confusion, or even deliberate signaling. It's likely Beijing is quietly supporting these negotiations in Pakistan. Brian, meanwhile, Houthi rebels launched rockets toward Israel over the weekend. How do we prevent this from escalating further and disrupting the Red Sea? Brent Sadler, the Houthis are effectively an Iranian proxy. As long as the current Iranian regime remains in power, they will continue to pose a threat. Cutting off their weapons supply has proven extremely difficult due to black market networks and smuggling, even involving their adversaries. It's not just about stopping shipments at sea. If the Houthis escalate attacks on shipping in a significant way, a strong military response would likely be necessary, similar to previous actions taken under President Trump before the current lull in hostilities. Brian, people often focus on the wrong things. While attention was on unrelated issues, the real story was the operation that successfully weakened the Houthis, something the previous administration didn't emphasize enough.